I finally have a mic. I should have bought one like years ago, but I didn't know if I was gonna continue to make videos or not. So, yeah, here we are. We're gonna be talking about true scary horror stories, or one, depending on how I feel. I'm gonna be so mad if this whole video gets fucked up. It's not even doing the mic right. I also got a Camp Crystal Lake hoodie. Friday the 13th, of course, if you watch. But I'm gonna show you guys. You can't see it from this angle. I like it. Yes, I'm wearing Ghostface PJs. Anyway, so I got a new mic and a new phone. I'm gonna read this off of my old phone though before I turn it back in. But anyways, we're gonna be doing scary horror stories. Let me stop edging, pause, and get right into the video. I'm also gonna be drinking a zero sugar cherry Pepsi. I love these things, they're so good. But let's get into it. This scary true horror story is called The Trick or Treater, and I tried to, actually read stories that are believable and actually happened, other than some bullshit like fake made up conjuring type of shit. But anyways, let's get into it. The story again is called The Trick or Treater. He starts off with, I'm an old man, 75 to be precise, born February 9th, 1950. I stayed in the house where I was born for my whole life. We were never a wealthy family. My father slaved away in a rubber manufacturing factory until he fell from a heart attack sometime in 1962. My mother, God rest her soul, took up 2 waitress jobs at opposite ends of town to make up for the slack my father left behind. Every Thanksgiving, she'd have a hot plate on the table for each of us, consisting of peas, gravy, cornbread, and ham. Pause. That sounds delicious. Man. Anyway, we'd gobble it up like God himself sent it down, and we cherished every moment of that yearly dinner. Christmas was more of the same. A hot meal pieced together by what change my mom could scrap together, topped off with coca, and a nice little toy that would be the highlight of the whole evening. However, Halloween was different in my home. Different from the other 2 in the sense that this holiday was more prepared for. As early as July, my mother would begin storing away extra cash for October, and once the Halloween sales began, she would go all out. Bag after bag of candy, string bats, prop cobwebs, and every year she would pull out the same old witch costume. She never seemed particularly thrilled about any of it. However, in fact, it seemed as though this was her least favorite time of the year. Hell, I wasn't even allowed to touch the candy. Trick-or-treaters would flock to our porch, seeing the astoundingly decorated posts and steps, only to walk away disappointed when my mother handed them only one small sweet each. That's crazy. Whenever I went trick-or-treating, I feel like some kids were like that. When I was younger, you know how you go and you're at the door and everybody else is getting candy, or especially if someone got like 3 pieces and you show up and they give you like 1 and it's the shittiest candy of them all. I was always still grateful though, because it was like they don't even have to be giving out candy, but you would have some kids like that. Yeah, but anyway, back to the story. Where I left off on, every year my mother would warn me about the trick-or-treater. Anyway, seeing only to walk away disappointed when my mother handed them only 1 small sweet each. All but 1, that is. See, every year my mother would warn me about this trick-or-treater. She would tell me how he'd look just like the rest, dressed up in a costume, outstretched remained completely flaccid. Once again, he had completely ran out. The kid simply turned around and stepped off the porch. My mother breathed and shot me an exhausted-looking smile before taking me by the hand and leading me to my bedroom, where, just like every Halloween, she'd lie with me, and we'd dream until November 1st. For 10 years, this tradition continued, and with each year I saw a new version of this child. I say child because he remained, never aging, even a day. Same radiating blonde, changing only his costume each Halloween. There he was again, face present and body hidden. That is until Halloween 1967. Earlier that year, my mother had lost her waitress job uptown, leaving her and me reliant entirely upon tips from a single restaurant. I picked up a paper round during around mid-August and hustled every day to chip in whenever I could. Unfortunately, with income cut in half for a few weeks, as was the supply of decor and, more importantly, candy, my mother tried the best she could to scrap together as much as possible. But I could tell by the worrisome look that grew ever more present in her face with each passing week. She knew it wouldn't be enough. When Halloween night finally arrived and the hour drew later and later, we heard the dreaded footsteps climb the steps of our front porch. Step, 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 step. Then the knocking. 3 slow rhythm knocks. Trick or treat. My mother's eyes filled with anxious fear as she rose to make her way to the door. Pulling it open, she was met with a zombie. Skin on his arms was peeling and sagged from the blood. His shirt was torn, revealing maggot-infested wounds stringing the length of his chest. Eternal organs dangled out of his stomach as he held the pillowcase out. Yet again, trick or treat. Oh yes, forgive me, child, my mother replied. Cautiously, she began emptying the candy that we had garnered. Dots, Tootsie Rolls, Mars bars, Hershey Kisses, then nothing. There you are, dear, my mother said nervously. The kid looked down into the black void of his pillowcase before snapping his icy blue eyes back up at my mother. Trick or treat, he grunted frantically. Yes, sweetie, trick or treat now. Good night. I really must be off to bed. Trick or treat, the boy continued, growing more and more aggressive with each bellow. My mother attempted to shut down the door, to which the boy slammed his entire body heavily against the wood. Trick or treat, trick or treat. The wounds on the boy's body that I was sure were not cosmetic at this point boiled and leaked out all over the entrance into our living room. As he forcibly shoved his way inside, he simply would not stop chanting those deafening 3 words, even as he tackled my mother to the ground. Rushing to her aid, I pulled with all of my might to restrain the child, but it was as though he had completely latched into my mother as his fingernails drove deep into her rib cage. I screamed as the sound of flesh tearing filled the room, along with my mother's desperate pleas of agony. Straining with all my might, the boy refused. The boy refused to budge as he snapped rib after rib straight from my mother's torso. He stuffed each bone deep into his never-ending pillowcase, and all I could do was watch in horror as he pried a gaping hole into her chest with his claw-like fingernails, ripping and tearing. He clawed straight through to my mother's organs and heart, her lungs, her stomach. He stuffed everything into her damn pillowcase. Once she had been picked completely clean, he placed her head and shoulders along the seams of the pillowcase and tugged along the edges until her body disappeared into his black void. The room fell silent, and the boy turned to me completely expressionless before lugging the pillowcase obviously not a true story. but that would make a good movie, like a good horror movie. I don't know if you could do that like a full-length horror movie, but maybe like a short film. That one was one of the more interesting ones. Some of the ones, that was on Reddit, by the way. I just looked up scary horror stories. You know, the thing about that is that, though that's in the true subreddit, by the way. True scary horror stories. It's in the subreddit. True. There's a lot of ones on there that are just like so unridiculously unbelievable. But if I continue this series, I definitely want to see like some actual true stories. But yeah, I do have one that's true, but I'm gonna save it because this video is already over 15 minutes long, and I already gotta edit out that fucking chunk of where I accidentally exited out. But yeah, so if you guys enjoyed this video, I thought I'd burp, but if you guys enjoyed this video, I don't know, this is more so just a test for like my new setup, and obviously I would love to do like more like horror related content or scary videos. Just let me know what you guys think. I mean, clearly I like horror stuff, and whatnot. But yeah, so that's gonna be it for this video. I'll probably do another one like this, and you know, have like a darker lighting. I feel like I should have a darker lighting with this video. I could easily just do like red. Then you guys can't see much of anything. But anyways, let me guys